Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It, and I'm excited because this is one of the films that I've been waiting for. I'm going to review Freaky, the new film starring Vince Vaughn and Kathryn Newton, produced by Jason Blum, from the director who did Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. I'm just now reviewing this because while it has been released in theaters as of November 13th, I ain't going to a theater. So it finally got digital demand release, and I finally got to get my eyes on it and give you my thoughts and review right after the jump. Real quick, if you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. So, Freaky is a hybrid film. It's American horror slasher slash comedy. If you like genres mixed together, this is your bag. If you liked Happy Death Day or Happy Death Day to You, we're getting something similar to that. So this film takes what used to be the full working title was Freaky Friday the 13th. If you get that, it takes a slasher film like Friday the 13th and mixes it with the body swapping stuff that happens in like Big or 13 Going on 30 or Freaky Friday. And so it stars Kathryn Newton as Millie, who is a high school sort of on the nerd crew. Not really liked by much. She's not in the popular team. Put it that way. I won't put her as a nerd, but she's not with the popular crew. Even though she looks like Kathryn Newton, which is a pretty young lady. And then we have the Blissfield Butcher, which is played by Vince Vaughn, who was a murderer. I just don't care about anybody type of person. And then comedy ensues, horror ensues, and they end up swapping without much explanation. I don't know how I feel necessarily about that. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You do a great deal of explaining why things are the way they are. This film sort of just says, there's this totem, shit happens. And you kind of just have to go along with it. I would like a little bit more explanation if we're going to get the film that we got. If they cleaned up a couple of things, I don't think I would really give a damn of who the or what or how this all works. Kathryn and Vince are having a ball, and I think because they're having a ball and having a blast doing this, the audience is also having a blast and a ball seeing them do it and just being a part of what it is they're doing. Both of them have some fantastic comedic timing and some dramatic chops as well. I think this is probably the most fun, comedic wise, Vince has had since Wedding Crashers era. He's really going for it. I think anytime you can have a scene where you have Vince with the body swap, Vince looking like Vince, but portraying Kathryn Newton in the backseat of a car, confessing his love to a teenage boy. You're gonna have some pretty fun and masterful moments of just comedy and some heart and levity. Because Vince does get the majority of the weight as far as doing the emotional tolls, which is a good scene too with Millie in Vince's body speaking to her mother with a whole situation that I won't really want to go into because I think those are some of the heartbeat moments of the film. And it's played out great for laughs. And there is an issue with me, and I think it's just because I have Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You so high on a tier that this one's a step down. I don't know if the genre meshing works as well for me as the genre meshing did for that. And I think it's more so not in the performances, and not even really on the directing. It's more just some slight execution errors that don't make this film stand up as well for me. The biggest thing for me is that the murders or deaths of people in this film are all super telegraphed. And part of it is once they swap, anyone that, as we're watching the film, anyone that Millie had a problem with in Millie form, they are the ones who got their comeuppance or died when Butcher got into her body. And therefore, it didn't really leave any suspense. I think the deaths are great and the violence is great. They look great. It sort of becomes run of the mill and routine. And let me be clear, I understand that with body swapping films, there is a sort of a skeleton that you have to use. When you swap swap bodies in these films, typically the person that was the A body first, our lead, is nerdy or bullied or something, and then the cooler body person comes in and fixes this thing or makes him cooler or gives the comeuppance to those people. And that's sort of what they're playing on part here. And for that, kudos, you stick to that formula. The problem is when you are introducing horror or murder, you have to just give me one person that is out of the norm, especially if this person, Blissfield Butcher, is a killer who just kills at random. You got to give me one person that doesn't fit the formula of that, so that I can kind of like, all right, cool. I know that this person is just a homicidal maniac as opposed to just killing the people that Millie didn't like before body swap. It's really my only problem with this film, and it takes that down a little bit of a level. The only other thing is, as much fun, and I think as much fun as we, the audience, are having, as much fun as the characters are having, there's just something. There's just something missing. And I think, honestly, for me, I think the biggest thing missing is that it's just not as fun as the Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You stuff. And I think it's an unfair comparison because they are two completely different films, sort of. They feel like they could exist in the same world, but because the director and writers on both are the same, that's the level that I'm putting this at. So on the scale of once is enough, Play It Again, Sam, or Give Me a Time Stone, so I never have to think about this movie again. It's at the low end of the Play It Again, Sam, because I have Happy Death Day so high. I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I just think, in comparison, it pales to those, and I think a lot of it is just because of some of the formulaic issues with it. It just feels a little, when it's all said and done, it's very run of the mill. When I feel like Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You felt so effervescent and new and something refreshing. This doesn't feel as refreshing. It's fun, but it doesn't feel as refreshing and new as those do. But those are my thoughts. What did you guys think about Freaky? Are you in on it? Did you like it? Did you like it as much or more than the Happy Death Day to You franchise? Go ahead and leave your comments in the comments below. If you haven't, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that is on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. Bit of a hiatus since films that fit that podcast don't come out as often. But we also have a sister podcast called You Can't Do That Anymore, where we talk about all the classic films like Gone with the Wind, Back to the Future, Tropic Thunder, and sort of judge with eyes of today to see if they can do what they did back then with those films with the current lens. So that's it for Freaky. I would like, and I know this has been the big thing since it's all within the same producing house and directing house and writing house. Let's get Tree from Happy Death Day and Millie from Freaky, and let's do a Freaky Death Day. Let's do a time traveling body swap film and see what crazy shenanigans the two of them can get up to. I think Millie and Tree could have some fun interactions with each other and just play around with all types of genres. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.